And decisions made affect us and others, and even society. And there are various situations that people face. Could be crisis situations. The COVID 2019 period brought about a crisis situation. What do we do? And it's a decision or is a crisis that reverberated across board, public sector, private sector, the education sector. And decisions therefore are a reaction to a problem, meaning that there a gap between what is there vis-a-vis what is expected. And therefore we need to make decisions on what alternative course of action needs to be taken. Meaning that people have faced with options. You could have invested your time in doing other things. You could have invested your money repaying your school fees in a project, or you could have decided not to do anything and enjoy the money and the time. And therefore, making decisions is not just for managers alone. No, people are faced with options in life, including even changing jobs, changing careers, changing organizations, changing residences, changing cars, among so many things. So, according to a scholar by the name Henry Mintzberg, he said that management, or he was of the view that management carry out about three key roles. There is the decision role, the information role. I think the third one is the interpersonal role. Now, in the decision-making role, you can just find out both the other roles, the interpersonal and the informational role. According to Mintzberg, the decision-making role that managers play involves the following activity: entrepreneurship. They have to initiate change, encourage innovations, new ideas, new way of doing things, new horizons, disturbance handling, that is dispute handling between the different parties, including departments, individuals, their colleagues, allocating resources, acquiring and allocating the resources and how they're going to be used and in which proportions, negotiator. All this involves decisions because they negotiate with management, with the employees or with the union. They go for meetings. They negotiate with others on behalf of the department, among others. And therefore, decision making is one of the most important, if not, is one of the most, if not the most important. The decision making process, there must be a problem. We are faced with our technology is obsolete, competition, profits. So you look at the decision criteria, the environment. How does it look like? Maybe a declining profit is a result of high competition. Can we be able to counter the competition? How does our environment look like, internal as well as external? Do we have the resources? So decision criteria, look at the decision criteria. But of course, we can move from identifying the problem to generating alternatives. First of all, after identifying the problem, the decision criteria and doing the decision criteria will result to what do we want to achieve? This will inform us exactly what do we want to achieve given the internal external environment and other conditions so that we come up what are our alternatives? What are our alternatives? Then we look at each alternative on its own merit, the alternatives. Then pick the best, run away with it, find out the extent to which it solves the problem or addresses the objectives. Because a problem, we must have objectives. To solve the problem, what do we need to do? So that is the decision-making process. This is still another elaboration. I'll not go into. There has to be a problem. For example, insufficient funds. What do we want to achieve? For example, increase cash flow, making a predecision. Can we solve the problem? Is it possible to solve the problem alone, or we need to involve everybody? What are the alternatives? Look at these alternatives. Pick a choice. Run away with it. Do follow-up. If the problem is solved, well and good. If not, you go back. Did we accurately look at the problem? So these are just what you've just talked about. There has to be a problem. And to be able to make a decision, one must first of all recognize that the problem is there. Just like when you come to be doing your research later, there is normally a research problem. A research problem is an academic problem, something that maybe you've seen a gap that people have not addressed. Then objectives. What exactly do you want to, as an outcome of engaging in the process? Then alternatives, I've talked about them. They are evaluated, cost benefit. It is implemented. Then we evaluate, follow up. So once we are done with our academic degree, we'll see whether did we make the right choice or not. But maybe so far, so good. Types of decisions made, they can be grouped, programmed. These are decisions that are based on established criteria or standards. Established criteria or standards. And they are guided by existing policies. If somebody scores all A's, all A's may be in their academic program, and then they have an average of A, what do they qualify? What kind of degree or class of degree will they get? Policy. Pre-established set of alternatives. The non-programmed decisions, these are novel. There is no existing template. There is no policy. It's a new situation. And it involves a lot of creativity. Maybe you don't have a template that is existing. So there's no precedence. So such decisions are known as strategic decisions. That is why they have to be weighed. Strategic implication, the risk factor, who's responsible, and all those things. For those of us maybe who have been involved in high-level decision making. Certain decisions whose outcome is bound to be achieved, they are certain. So the degree of certainty and certainty is normally dependent on the risk element. And all, of course, our decisions involve a risk element. There is need to do risk mitigation or gather data that will help mitigate against or reduce the degree of exposure. Degree of risk may range from complete certain, that is, there is no risk, and therefore we'll be able to achieve maybe the objective, or is a stab in the dark, and therefore the risk element is high. Anything can happen. The line between success and failure is very thin. And therefore, in making a certain decisions, looking at data and looking at the risk exposure. And I think nowadays we have models that can be able to assist in finding the degree of risk exposure. How do we establish whether we've made the right decision? Okay, a quality decision, the optimal decision. The optimal decision. So we establish the quality of decision based on certain criteria. So evaluate quality of a decision based on one, how does it lead to desirable outcomes within the context of cost, time, and other resource constraints. So a high quality decision will lead to achievement of objectives within time and other resource constraints. And therefore, it satisfies the needs of the stakeholders. Has that decision been made on time? Is it timely? Because again, failure to make the decision on time may resort to making the decision when it's too late in the day. Of course, results will be gotten probably, but it would have been better or wiser if the decision has been made much earlier or sooner than maybe the time that this decision is being made because of taking advantage of opportunities. Maybe you have made the right decision to come back to school. It's a timely decision when one is still maybe able to, one still has the stamina. So failure to make the right decision within time limits, the appropriate time, can lead to inefficiency as far as resources concerned, decreased worker satisfaction, or even inability to complete or even compete. Because even the best decisions, they lose value when they are made too late in the day. Acceptance. Decision will require people to implement. Are they embracing the decision? Are they for or against the decision? Because again, if a decision is not accepted, what will happen is resistance. And the resistance normally comes out in other behaviors and other things that people engage in, which may be detrimental. They are expressing their dissatisfaction. They are not wholly embracing the decision. So it's necessary that people should obtain the support of those people who will be implementing the decision. Ethical appropriateness. Is the decision ethical? Ethical. Is it acceptable? Is it within the norms and values of the society? Is it leading to oppressing some people? Is it harming the interests of others while promoting the interest of others? The ethical appropriateness. And as much as possible, decisions should cater for the interest of the multiple stakeholders, including the employees, the shareholders, the society, the government, among others. Because you can have laws at times, even laws or even values of society can be in conflict with whatever decisions that are being made, cause a lot of friction. So recognizing the moral issues involved is very, very important when making decisions so that they are considered ethical. So that's about evaluating the quality of decisions. When you look at decision making as a process, what are the key features? We shall just go over them very quickly. One, it is consultative. It's a process and it is consultative. Rarely will decisions be made by one person, especially in the work setup. And it involves professionals, especially if they're strategic decisions in the workplace. And decisions aim at improved functioning of organization. Rarely will you get decisions that are there to promote inefficiencies unless the employees are sabotaging the decision. It's continuous dynamic, meaning that it's something that is done day in, day out. Even the starting of a business, the winding up of a business, our decisions. It cuts across all organization activities. We require data, scientific knowledge, that's data, and how to manipulate data, in, as well as mental maturity, the analysis. We must have means of checks and balances. Or rather, sorry, not means, but decisions provide the means for checks and balances. Because we evaluate the decision and the outcome. Basis of action and resources are committed. The importance of decision making, organizational objectives are achieved in as far as resources are used, resource use, achievement of desired objectives, goals of the organization vision is achieved. It's important for employee motivation when people know what they're supposed to do and decisions taken are for the good of all stakeholders. Resource utilization and allocation is based on making appropriate decisions. Another characteristic is it allows for making the best alternative, choosing the best or the most optimal alternative, having evaluated others. It's a basis upon which we can evaluate performance. Now, types of decisions I've mentioned it, programmed and programmed. You can also mention other types of decisions that managers make that are made by management. And I'd mentioned some of them. The organizational, the program, the unprogram, the certain, the uncertain. Okay, good. With that, come to the second end of the second part, what I wanted us to discuss. Today, I want us to go through one more, but we'll take a very short break. We'll take a very short break of 2 or 3 minutes. Then we discuss the issue of leadership. We've talked about personality. We've talked about decision making. And we did a bit of introduction of organizational behavior. Now, all these are related to behavior of people within the context of the organization. And leadership in any setup is very crucial. And by virtue of holding positions of authority, the people holding such positions are vested with the responsibility of leadership, making decisions, motivating, controlling, and directing. So in the study of organizational behavior, motivation, learning, and even the overall culture of the business, it all depends on leadership. And in people working or engaged, the leadership is the same. So what is leadership and who is a leader? And in order for leadership, for one to exercise leadership, what does he or she require? What are the skills required of a leader? Conceptual skills and other skills, personal skills, interpersonal skills that will help people to make decisions, control behavior, understand the behavior, and also provide direction. So essentially, we are interested here in knowing who is a leader. What is leadership? And is leadership and management the same in one thing? There has, of course, been a lot of debate as to whether leadership and management are the same in one thing. And actually, the line between them is very thin. But management tends to follow established rules, regulations, and they have a clear mandate of what their job entails. Leadership may not follow a given script, and is more of influence. Now, are people born with leadership skills or do they acquire them? There are various schools of thought on the study of leadership. And then, what are the skills that are needed for effective leadership? Should a leader be a genius? Should a leader be tall or short? Male or female? Should a leader be coming from a line of a lineage of leaders? And to exercise this leadership, where do the leaders draw their authority or power or influence from? So we'll start off with the, of course, definitions in academia. I think we love definitions. This is part and parcel of academic work. Ability to influence others and to follow and persuade them to follow a given course of action. And therefore, it is through leadership that people's mind, thinking, behavior are influenced. It also means to lead, to inspire, to influence, to guide. And it is through leadership that we get people to achieve their best, especially when you're talking about transformational leadership. So in leadership, the leader communicates a compelling, develops and communicates a compelling vision of the future, the ideal future that they envisage, and then dream, and then they harness their collective, they are engaged towards achieving that objective. And therefore, leadership takes place in the context of any organization. What is an organization? Social invention that has been made to achieve a given objective. It's just a fictitious person. And therefore, from that foregoing discussion, we can see that leadership involves one, there has to be a leader. Two, there has to be the followers. Three, the leader has to use influence. And of course, as they lead, they're also influenced by the people. So there is that exchange between the leader and the follower. The leadership takes place within an environment, and there is, of course, the goals to be achieved. Those are known as the elements of leadership. Now, when you look at leadership by its key nature, one is that it is the key to success in life and any organization, effective leadership, effective leadership, not just leadership. And leadership transforms, develops, or makes people realize their potent potential. So it transforms potential into reality. And it brings success to the organization. Leadership come up with new ways of doing things when the old ways are no longer tenable. Does it relate to putting new wine into old wine skins? Probably. Where do leaders get their power from? Just a bit of, sorry, where do leaders, get their power from to influence? There is power that comes from position, it's legitimate power. And this position comes with span of control, comes with sanctions, comes with authority. So, position power, reward power, the power that comes by virtue of, or the power that a leader has by virtue of holding the purse string or deciding on who benefits from what. We see this used a lot in the political arena, where those who wield power use that power to decide who gets what lucrative assignments. Even in the world of work, say, for example, those who belong to the kitchen cabinet, the in group, may normally get better assignments than those of others and favors. Of course, they're expected to work harder and defend the dream and the goals of the leader. So, sorry. Other sources of power is expertise, power that comes from being an expert in doing something. We obey our doctors and the mechanics and even people who have expert knowledge. The auditor, because they have expert knowledge in whatever we are, the subject matter of discussion. And therefore we follow their advice. Referent power, the power that comes from identifying with the leader, associating with the leader, and holding the leader in sort of a superior position, such that whatever the leader says is accepted without question. Coercive power, power that comes from the threat of punishment and the use of the punishment. Again, we see this a lot in the political arena. When people fall out, not just when people fall out with those in political power, they are likely to experience punishment. And this is not just within even the political arena. Organizations too have their own politics. And those in authority can use that power that they have to punish those that may not be. So those are sources of leadership, nature of leadership, sorry. What are the traits of an effective leader? Dominance, presence, taking charge, but not being bully. Now, there is need to be felt and the dominance held in the organization. High energy, self-driven, motivated, stamina, stress, ability to tolerate stress, confidence in themselves, in their decisions, in their team, in their abilities. So again, the self-confidence may make some leaders have this belief that it's only them who can make decisions, and they do not want or broker any dissenting voice, and it can create sort of an autocratic leader. All right. Now, because this self-confidence can create a feeling of exaggerated self-importance, stable emotional stability, control, secure, positive. They are able to express their own emotions, understand the emotions of others, to know what to say, how to say it, and when to say it. Integrity above board in their behavior, in their words, in their conduct. Intelligence above average, not a genius, above intelligence, but just normal intelligence. EQ is emotional intelligence, which is related to the ability to work well with people, their emotions in and out of the workplace, not flying off the hurdle when annoyed, and taking decisions that display emotional immaturity, flexibility, adapt to change. Locus of control. We talked about locus of control. What kind of locus of control should a leader have? Internal locus of control. Believe that they can change the destiny of themselves and those of others. In the leader, we should be honest, understand who they are. They must be able to cultivate trust and confidence, and show that they are worthy of being followed. And the leader and confidence in their leader. And therefore, this requires understanding of human nature. The followers, leadership does not take place in a vacuum. It requires followers. And depending on the followers, there are different styles of leadership. Autocratic, there, among other leadership styles. So leader must know their people. Yes or no. There's a hand that is raised.
Yes, Malim. In locus
Yes.
of control, it's specifically the internal locus, not the external.
You see, you cannot be able to lead people if you don't have the belief that you can change their destiny. So it is internal locus of control. Those with the external locus of control tend to make indecisive leaders because they have to consult. So it is external locus of control.
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem. Now, communication. Leadership is that involves two-way communication, and leaders must know how to communicate both verbally and non-verbally through their behaviors, actions, pronouncements. That is why, say, for example, when we rise to positions of leadership in organizations, as the time one realizes that whatever the previous leadership was doing was as a result of the requirements of that position. Because they already, now that's the time one has the buck stops with them, and they are supposed to portray and communicate as role models. And therefore, whatever a leader communicates either builds or harms the relationship that they have with their followers, and by extension, the kind of culture created. Situation, another element of leadership. That leadership occurs under different circumstances and environments. And there is no one shoe that fits all. And therefore, what a leader does in one situation may not work in the other. Hence the issue of flexibility and the issue of knowledge of the circumstances. Leadership styles, there is autocratic, dictatorial. These people tend to be directive and controlling, issuing directives, commands, and they want to know everything that happens. They make all decisions. They don't like consulting. Will breathe down the neck of the subordinates, even dictating what they do and how they do it. They tend to be micromanagers and want to be in control of everything that happens. And such leaders normally in organizations, they may be very hard to work with. And they can promote something called learned helplessness, where because they need to make all decisions, employees wait for the leader to make all the decisions, even when they know what to do. Yes, Nancy.
So I don't know if you've given me permission, but I don't know if I'm the only one who's experiencing the internet challenge from your end. You are breaking a lot.
Is that the situation with members, or it is our member Nancy who is having internet issues?
I think it's our member.
I think it's a
Yes.
member. It's
Yes,
good on my side.
yeah, because when Nancy is speaking to us, she's the one who is breaking. The rest I can hear very well. So Nancy, you need to check your connectivity. I don't think I have any network issues because the rest I can hear them well. So you need to check out there. In which diaspora are you, Nancy? She's still with us or she has disappeared? Oh. You are in the diaspora of Kenya. All of us are in Kenya. Okay, no problem. Don't worry. So, autocratic leaders tend to be micromanagers. They want to be in charge, in control, which limits the freedom of employees. And those people who value autonomy, they find it very difficult to work with such kind of leadership because they are not allowed to participate in decision making. Even the most mundane, small decisions, they have to seek authority from the leader, which tends to alienate the employees from their leader. And it serves to sow seeds of mistrust, because it shows as if the leader does not trust the ability, the knowledge, the skills of the followers. And for people who have creative minds, who believe that they can influence things, they will find it stifling to work in such an environment. So such leaders will make decisions based on their ideas, ideals, choices, judgment, and rarely do they want to be advised or even given any support. Okay, no, I don't know who call it support, but any external ideas from other people because they believe their ideas are the best. I think they suffer from the exaggerated self-importance. And this position or this kind of leadership is normally found in leaders who or managers who may lack people skills, training, or even experience and expertise, especially when those positions, not because of know-how, but because of know-who. What could be the advantages and disadvantages? You can always find out. Laissez-faire, laid back, where the leader or the manager or the one in charge allocates duties and responsibilities and then they are absent. So they handle, they delegate power to the followers. They will take the responsibility for the group decisions actions, but they are unavailable for guidance and support. And again, it can be very frustrating for people who may not be very experienced and skilled and who may require some bit of mentoring. Then there's democratic or participatory leadership, decision made in group setup, people given opportunity to participate, share their ideas, and then the decision making is more collective. Though the leader retains the right to make the final decision and maybe even to incorporate the views of the followers. So the focus is on equality and flow of ideas. Other leadership theories. So theories of leadership, sorry. Those are leadership styles. We understand leadership from the leadership theories. There is the trait theory of leadership. There is the leader-member exchange theory. It's more of a social learning theory. There is also the big man theory of leadership. So I'll not go into the leadership theories. I want you to read about some of them. Big man theory. Like when you read about theories about Hitler, Bismarck, mm, mm, Mandela, these great leaders, Caesar. So this the great man theory. Okay? And the history we'll read about another African leaders in history, great men who made change because of their charisma, maybe, or because of their knowledge, or because of their organization skills. This is what we read more in autobiographies. The trait theory. The trait theory comes to dispute the great man theory. Because the great man theory was of the view that all great leaders are born. And they come from a certain lineage. So the trait theory wanted to look at what is these traits that these leaders have in common that propel there. The height, the intelligence, but other theories come in, like the social learning theory, that argues that how come people born in a certain lineage meaning that they have genes that are the same passed over their brothers or their friends, their brothers or their siblings would make very great leaders, but them, they did not show any leadership qualities, yet they were of the same stock, as it were. So the social learning, arguing that leadership is a learned or can be learned. So the different theories of leadership, just have a look at them. And that marks the end of what I wanted us to have a discussion on today. So that, thank you. Yes, I can see some comments. Egotistical leaders. Yes, I can see some comments. Thank you, because of relating. It's good when we are learning, we relate to contemporary issues. It makes the learning interesting, so that we may use this for purposes of remembering, right? Because I know I've taught a lot of things today. We've said a lot of things today. I don't know whether some have been committed to memory or 90% has gone down the drain. So today you've talked about leadership, you've talked about decision making, and you've talked about learning. Now, of course, the notes are in our the notes, I've loaded them and even enabled them for you people to see in our virtual campus. So thank you so much. So yes, I can see a lot of discussions, which is healthy. People have different viewpoints. We may be looking at the same thing, but seeing different things. LMX is leader member exchange. L leader, M exchange. Leader, L, M member, X exchange. So it is leader member exchange theory. Talks about the in-group and the out-group. Just read about it. Leader member exchange theory. That as people join groups, the interaction between the member and the leader and the assessment by the leader places the member either as a member of the in-group or the member of the out-group. The in-group, you can maybe refer to them as the kitchen cabinet. When is the next class? Sincerely, even this class has not ended. Sarah. Yes, Sarah, what is the concern? Is Sarah Maswili there? Because I can see a question. What was the issue, Sarah? So I want to stop there for today. Let us meet in the next class. Nancy, your hand is raised.
Yes, sir. My sincere apologies first for maybe going against the rule of the house. And maybe that one might have been a reason that I joined the class a bit late. If you won't mind, you can brief us on the rules of the house. As I understand, every house has its own rules, so that we may not go against it. That's one concern. And the second one, as my colleagues, not my fellow students are asking about the next class. The concern is that according to the timetable, we selected this class to be on Sunday. A reason to why we had another class, maybe others like me have another class on Monday. So maybe you can respond on that just for the sake of us who joined the class a bit late due to the confusion of the class. Kindly.
Nancy, how many classes do you have on Sunday?
This is the only class I should be having on Sunday,
Are
but
you
on Monday I have another class.
are you a full DL student? DL
Sure,
students,
I am.
when are their classes held?
Like the
No,
other
no, 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 no,
classes,
no.
I
Answer
do
the
attend.
question first. The
Yes,
DL classes, when are they held
yes.
normally?
Normally, I
Saturday and
don't know.
Sunday.
I think it's
Sorry,
evening.
thank you. So, class, when are DL classes normally held?
Saturday and Sunday, madam.
Same
Saturday and
time.
Sunday. Saturday and
Sunday.
Sunday, isn't it?
Yes.
So to avoid the clashes of the classes,
Yes,
that is
yes.
why you opted to move the class to a Monday.
Which is very helpful, madam.
Mwalimu,
If you want to go to back on Sunday, no problem. I'll teach on Sunday.
No,
Those will be
no, no,
present.
no,
no,
madam.
Sunday is fully packed.
No.
We
I am.
already agreed, and I don't think we should go back to.
Uh,
No,
hiyo
let's
Voted
let's
tulishakubaliana
for
in
Monday.
our first class we agreed it's on Monday. So I think all of us were in agreement. So for those who
For
joined us
Monday, yes.
later, they can realign themselves with what we decided on that time.
Mwalimu,
So we cannot all of us
The-
as a majority
whatever.
realign with.
Back whatever.
po- po-
It
Mwalimu,
seems the student Nancy is not a DL
So
student.
hello,
If Nancy is a
gentlemen and
DL
ladies.
student,
Can
then
I speak? Can
no,
I speak?
Mwalimu,
Yes.
if Nancy is a DL student, then it means that she's also attending the same class on Sunday. That means Sunday is fully packed. That's why we decided for Monday. So I
Thank
don't
you.
see the
Then,
need of us. I don't see the need of us going back to Sunday. Yes, we know
then,
all of us we are busy over the weekdays. Like me, I joined later because of my inconveniences. But we should not take everybody back to Sunday. It's
well,
our duties to make us inconvenience.
well, for the sake of Nancy, I would advise her. Nancy,
Yes, sir.
there is an OB class for the part-time students. Have you checked the timetable? There is OB class for part-time, which normally runs on the evenings from Monday to Friday. There is a class on one day. And that one now you can attend throughout the week, or the date is scheduled. Have you checked the timetable?
Yes, I did. For the DL students. So OB is which one? Maybe I don't understand. You can make me understand that one. Oh, organizational behavior. Every day during the week. I think there is something I'm missing it out. Huh?
Owino Leonard, do you have a query, a question, please?
I just wanted to talk about the part of DL. Yeah, because we are mixed up. There's BCOM, and then there are people like me who are BPL. So you'll realize that BPL doesn't have as an only DL timetable.
Thank you.
Yeah, so you find some people like us for BPL, we are mixed with part-time on weekdays. Even me, I have a class today that just ended, but now what can we do? So that is, I think we are doing the same course.
Yes.
So that is the problem. That is the confusion.
Nancy might be right, and Nancy might be right, but now the majority, we cannot just go with the majority.
Well, what our colleagues need to do is they need to raise that issue. Alternatively, I think there is, if you check the part-time timetable, there is OB that is on offer. The part-time timetable has OB on offer. I don't know which day.
It's okay, Malim. I think we'll just have to balance. Because you'll find it, maybe it's falling on a day that another class is.
Well, I normally
So I think that's the problem. But it's
I
okay.
I normally do my class on Monday from 7 o'clock. That's the time we agreed the first day we met.
Yeah, the majority is normally the BCOM. So normally we don't win this kind of
for adaptability and flexibility and a bit of juggling.
But you're disadvantaging us, sir.
Yes.
Maybe for that case, I think you can give us. You said you've shared more notes on the platform, on the VC.
Yes, and even the class is being recorded, so still we have a lot of options.
Yes, please. If you can do that, then it's okay.
It's being recorded even now.
Yeah,
all right.
need to share it as colleagues.
And again,
because if you don't assist one another, now, if you want us to go back on Sunday, me have no problem. I have no problem. Then you'll have 4 classes.
No, excuse me. Are you guys aware that we are more than 60 and only 2-3 people want the class back on Sunday? How is that supposed to affect the rest of the class?
Can we be
No, we
diplomatic?
don't want.
No, can we be diplomatic?
Malim, maybe I have a suggestion for those people who are doing TPL. Can they also change the other subjects which are clashing with this one on Monday to change to another day, if that's possible?
You cannot change a part-time class. Part-time class you can't change.
We shall not get a solution today.
Yeah. Maybe Malim, just for the sake, kindly, the notes I can see most of them are in form of PDF. If you can give us the other format, in form of the PowerPoint, you can give us in form of the PDF so that we can print them, especially for those of us who would like hard copies.
And there's also my SIBA Edgar Master is recording. We can request from, I don't know, from him or her.
Now for
me, I'll just request the recordings to be shared so that
atakana changie pia aseme kama how atashare kama
yeah, there's somebody.
Those recording, maybe you should be sharing. I know I can record, but now how will I record when I'm in another class? Yeah, so it's just a request so that we don't interfere with already
the majority
something that has already been planned.
No problem. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to learn to give, take here and there and adjust accordingly.
Yes. That's democracy.
Have a good evening.
And what type of leadership is that?
It's divide and rule.